All right, everybody, what is going on? This is Marshall from Wolves Den TV. We are working on the next part in our music series, talking about tips and tricks and things I've learned over the years. For a little bit of context, if you're new, I've been a music teacher for 6 years. I play a couple different instruments. I teach a couple different instruments, and I've learned a lot of things over the years, and I'm really excited to be sharing, hopefully in a simple yet long-form ramble-style video about some things I learned. I'm going to try to be a little more focused because I can be all over the place, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Today is talking about why the pentatonic scale is king. If you don't know, pentatonic just means 5 notes in any key that always sound good. Okay, it's kind of like going to your favorite restaurant and you want to explore and get that new thing, but you always get the thing you always order and it always hits. These are non-controversial notes. These are easy to digest notes, meaning when you solo in this scale shape and use these notes, you are always going to sound good in any genre, any decade. It's just like that friend that gets along with everybody, okay? So, first off, this is not a video for super advanced, and this is not a video, perfect for a complete beginner. I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on the scale itself, more about its implementation. So, let's really quickly go over it. Today we're going to be in this, we're doing minor pentatonic, by the way. Let's just go over our scale shape really quick. We are going to be in G minor, okay? So that means you got to find your 3rd fret. On the E string, it's 3 to 6. On A, D, and G, it's 3 to 5. And then on B and E, that would be 3 to 6. Early on, do yourself a big favor. Go pointer to pinky for A. Go pointer to ring for the next 3. Go pointer to pinky for the next 2. This is the classic thing where learn these arbitrary rules, take them very seriously, and then when you're a little bit more comfortable in advance, then break them. But early on, I guess this will be our first tip, use this appropriate fingering because you can get about 1 finger per fret. And inside of this minor scale shape, we have additional notes that you can throw in that work in the minor. Sounds a lot darker, right? Those scales emphasize the minor feel, and they just happen, or those notes emphasize the minor feel of this scale, and those notes just happen to fall into perfect place of the unused fingers. So be disciplined and use 1 finger per fret. So that means if I'm starting on 3, that's pointer's job, middle's job, ring's job, and pinky's job, so on and so forth. Okay, so awesome. Next tip, then I promise we're gonna get into a little more advanced stuff. Next tip is once you get the scale shape down and you think, oh man, all I got is this. You remember that the 3rd fret is G. 12 has a double dot. He's saying, hey, I'm really important. That's where the neck repeats. So that means G is on 3. And G is on 3 above 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. So try playing any phrase down low, then go high. Dude, if you didn't already know this, then please pick up the pieces of your mind off of the floor, because when I first learned this, it blew my mind. I understand it, you guys. If you're more of on the beginner side of things, learning this stuff is really intimidating. Learning the fretboard and learning the neck is really intimidating. Oh, but there's all these scale shapes and interconnected notes. Yeah, but trust me, it's not that bad. We'll dive into that for sure. But the beauty of it is once you get any shape down that's low here, you automatically have a bonus shape up here, right? When we listen to our favorite solos that got like cool high parts, guess what, dude? He's got a little brother down here that you can pair it with, or vice versa. So even though we're talking about 1 scale shape today, you have 2 options. And I'm going to do a demo section in this video where I show off some of those skills, and you are going to see me go back and forth in that, okay? So we've got the notes out of the way. We've got the finger discipline out of the way. We've got the octave setup out of the way. My next piece of advice, we've talked about why the pentatonic scale is so good, but the next thing is, you might have heard the expression, limitation breeds creativity. If you're totally new to this scale shape, or you're an early adopter of this scale shape, which is the best one, by the way, if you're new to it, you might make a mistake that I made and that a lot of people make, where you're just trying to play a bunch of different notes. So the first mistake people make is, instead of soloing, they just play the scale. Cool. You spiced up a scale. That's not a solo, right? It's more like a dance. You pick different notes and you move around. So you have to have the shape fully memorized to navigate dancing between these. Just because I jumped between strings, I didn't play always notes that are right next to each other. It sounded a lot more musical, started a lot more like a solo. That just comes from comfortability with the scale. So sweet. All you gotta do is keep practicing. That's a cool one. The next thing is, though, with limitation breeding creativity, it can be overwhelming to have all these notes at your disposal. It's kind of like when you're in middle school, your English teacher says you have to write about this book, you have to write about this book, and all you can think to yourself is, oh my gosh, when can I choose what to write about? And then, this happened to all of us, I bet, the English teacher finally lets you do that, and you have no idea what to write about. Paralysis analysis, option overload, you have no idea where to go. I teach about 50 students a week, and I see this all the time. I see they've been practicing their scale shape. We say, cool, now let's implement it, let's use it, and they go, I don't know where to start. Okay, perfect. I've got the solution for you. You need to find a limitation. Don't take all 12 frets at your disposal. You got 2 strings, 2 notes per fret, so you got 12 frets here. Don't use every single one. Max out, and my recommendation is to max out the A, D, and G string because it's perfectly symmetrical. Max that out. Play only those 6 notes for like an absurd amount of time. Because what happens when you have a jam track going and you're just playing... You're limited to this simple version of the scale shape. Your brain starts to get bored. Now you're thinking, all right, now you're telling me to get bored? Yeah. When your brain gets bored, you start to go, what if I don't use my, what if I don't hammer on, I do a slide, I don't do a pull off? What if I add vibrato to this note? What if I add vibrato? Do you see what I'm saying? When you have this limitation, you've spanned the same notes in the same order, the same way 100 times, your brain goes, oh, I'm bored. What if I do a slide? It's almost like a voice inside of your own head is giving you the ideas. Boredom is your best friend and limitation is your best friend. You need to create an environment that you can be totally loose in, totally comfortable in. I want you to try soloing on jam tracks with just these notes. That's our next step. You want to get totally comfortable because at this point, you've probably memorized your scale shape. You've probably done this. You've probably done some exercises, and I will give you one. But the best piece of advice of what I think someone can do to sound better the fastest is to be physically and mentally comfortable. Be in your happy place. Turn off the lights, close your eyes. The more emotive, the more face muscles you use, the more your head swivels, the more you lean back and have bad posture, but who cares because you're comfortable, I guarantee that will breed far, far better performance and far better outcomes than 20 more minutes of scale practice. That stuff is really important, but we're talking about soul, we're talking about character here. Get comfortable, get weird. I tell my students that all the time, and the biggest leaps I've seen with my more intermediate or advanced students is the ones that start to just loosen their muscles and have fun with it, because that's the whole point, right? Now, before I demo, we've talked about a lot of different aspects. Let me give you 2 very, very quick warm-ups. Now, the first one is non-musical. It is terrible, but it's terrible to listen to, but it is unbelievably good for muscle development. And that is just using, we talked about the 1 finger per fret principle. First thing you're going to do, I know you're going to hate this. I hate it, but it's the best. You're just going to go in order. 1 finger, 1 fret, 1 string at a time. We are chromatic maxing, okay? Sounds awful. However, your ring and your pinky are super, from a muscle standpoint, super underdeveloped. So when you do a drill like that, you are really putting it to work. The other thing it teaches you is that your thumb and your technique will probably not be very comfortable and not be very good if this is your first time trying it. That's a good thing. Do it. Struggle with it. Feel like you're getting carpal tunnel. Do whatever you got to do because your hand, your body, and your mind will start to mold to, oh, if I move like this, then all of a sudden I have access to it. It just comes with time. Teachers can teach you form and technique, but we all have different hand sizes, different strength levels, all of these different things. So you want to just find a physically taxing exercise and just max it out. Do it a bunch. And study your own body. Look at where your thumb is. Be dynamic. Let your thumb move like a basketball defender. He has to be in a different position depending on where the ball is, right? Same with our thumb. He needs to be moving in different spots to get perfect technique every time. The best advice that was given to me is we're playing a bunch of different notes, but the best advice was treat each note like it's the only note you have to play. That means starting slow, putting your finger in the best spot, physically being comfortable, and having your thumb in a good spot to complement and support what your hands are doing. Treat every note like it's the only note you have to play. So that is our non-musical but extremely beneficial muscular warm-up that emphasizes our 1 finger per fret rule. Now let's talk about one that's actually musical that's going to help us shred, okay? Play your pentatonic scale from low to high and then back to low again. Just trust me. Cool. It's fresh in my mind. Got it. You are going to pick either 3 or 4 notes, okay? So you're going to start low. Let's do 4. Play 4 notes. Now, every time you play a group of 4, ask yourself, what was my second note in that group? It was this one. Okay, now put your pinky there. Now he starts the next group of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What was my second note? Oh, it was this one. Group of 4. Second note, group of 4. Do you realize now the pattern? This is like on a basketball court, you run to this line, you come back. You run to a further line, you come back. That's what we're doing. This is interval training, and it is unbelievably good when implemented properly. So your brain will be maybe confused a little bit at first. I know mine was. And then it'll start to get the pattern, and you are just inching up the neck 1 fret at a time. It's beautiful. So I'll give you a demo slow. At this stage, you are slow, you are intentional, and you're just, quite frankly, trying to play it correctly. Then when you get comfortable with it, you say, you know that gap? That's a gap. Oh, now I start. Now goes very slow and get rid of that gap. Now every note is perfectly in line, and all you got to do is speed it up from there. And you run out of strings. And then the beauty of it is you get to go backwards and you can use pull-offs and it sounds sick. It's the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you implement it, I was so crazy as a kid, I used to practice this by pushing my fingers into my own hands to remember the scale shape. I am obsessed with this, and I hope you become addicted to it too, because it is super fun. Okay, so now let's implement it. Let's demo my skills. I am going to just do my best to only stick to pentatonic position 1 in G minor. In either starting on the 3rd fret or starting in my 3 above 12, which is 15th fret. I know I word it like that. I work with a lot of kids. It helps them remember it. And I have the philosophy is I don't like thinking about anything above 12. 13 is just my 1st fret. 14 is just my 2nd fret, so on and so forth. So we're going to get a jam track pulled up here. If you notice, my tone is heavily reverberated, all that kind of stuff. That's because I got a nice Hendrix-like psychedelic jam track. So get weird, get comfortable, and I'm going to show you how I would style this, okay? So we're going to get right into it. Here we go. G minor, pentatonic. Perfect. So that's what we got there. Not my best work, but not my worst work either. Just demoing. And I think if we ran the tape back and analyzed everything, I think you would see a lot of B string, a lot of G string, a lot of D string. First off, for me, the bends are easiest for a beginner on the G string. You have enough real estate space to pull or push, so that's great. Whereas on the B string, you can only push, and on the E string, you can only push. I'm telling you guys, for the pentatonic scale haters out there, you can absolutely shred on the pentatonic scale. Now, that wasn't my best work. I'm not warmed up. I'm going to give myself some excuses. No, I'm just kidding. But the point is that you can impress a lot of people by doing that, but all of my guitar players that really know their stuff know I just played the same like 3 notes while strumming up and down, like nothing crazy, right? So hopefully, if you are at the stage where you're trying to learn lead guitar, please, please, please stick with pentatonic position 1 for a long time. It'll help you with ear training. It'll help your finger strength. It'll help your bending, vibrato, hammer-ons, you name it. Do these warm-ups. Have fun with it. Please don't make the mistake of trying to learn too many scale shapes at once and then just being at all of them, right? We don't want to be mid at a bunch of scale shapes. I want to dominate the pentatonic scale shape and be a monster, learn how it connects to other one, spend my time on that, dominate it, and just divide and conquer. I love a lot of the adult and teenage students that have a lot of skills that I've worked with over the years, but one pitfall I've noticed over the last years or so as YouTube and TikTok and these things become far better resources is everyone's finding out about a new mode, a new scale shape, something like that. So, I'm going to go try it. And they don't put the time in to really let it marinate and digest. And I just see a lot of people that are okay at a bunch of scale shapes and not really comfortable with one primarily. Now, you don't need to just primarily have one, but the point is I want to close my eyes, turn off my lights, and jam and let people listen to my soul come out from my hands and from my guitar. I am not capable of doing that if it's a scale shape I'm not comfortable with. Pentatonic is so approachable. It's so comfortable. I can just close my eyes. I always know where I'm going. I always know what finger should be there. I always know what the note is going to sound like before I play it because of time invested to that. And that can be you too, with this scale shape or any of them. But because of the symmetry of the shape itself, how approachable it is, how every guitar teacher I've ever had or met teaches this one first, I really, really suggest don't make the mistake of finding out a new scale shape on TikTok. Stick with pentatonic, get really good at it. One other bonus, I know I'm rambling, but one other bonus is music is advancing. People are really, really talented these days, and there's all these resources. And pentatonic, people strayed away from using the pentatonic because it was so overdone. It sounds good with every pop record, every rock record, you name it, it's going to sound good. So people strayed away from it in terms of more avant-garde, weird, strange sounds to the point where that actually became the normal, and it would actually be refreshing to hear pentatonic again in rock. It's come full circle, folks. Pentatonic is the dish you always order at the restaurant. It will never let you down. It will never fail you. It is not the most, doesn't have the most depth. It is not the most exploratory. However, if you put the time in, get your finger discipline down, use the scale to master bends, use the scale to master ear training. Once I find out a song is in a key, I just find position 1, and then I can learn every melody in 2 seconds, and I will make a video on that. But please find the pentatonic scale shape, milk it, max it out for everything it's worth, and I promise you, your soul, your spirit, your emotion will come out and you're playing more than you could ever expect. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We've got a lot more videos and a lot more scripts of a lot of different things in the pipeline, and I can't wait to share that with you. Please have a good one. Wolves Den TV signing off.